welcome to Kardec Radio for Teens. Hi everyone, welcome to Kardec Radio for Teens. Since this is the first broadcast, I'd like to tell you all a little bit about myself. My name is Beatrice Lopez, but my nickname is Bia and everyone calls me that, so you guys are more than welcome to call me that as well. I'm 16 years old, and I live in the state of New York with my mom, my dad, and my brother William. I also have a dog named Joey. But the important part is that I'm a teenager just like all of you. I know that as teenagers, you don't want to listen to what your parents or your teachers or your guidance counselors say, so this is a place where teens can talk to teens, and that's what's important about this radio show. I know you all might be a little confused on what this radio show is about. The generic answer to that question would be a radio for teenagers to learn and express their thoughts while talking to other teenagers instead of adults such as their parents or their guidance counselors or teachers. While that may all be true, the real truth of the matter is that this radio station is whatever us teenagers want to make of it. My plan of right now is to each week have a different topic that would be like the topic we talk about, such as like school or getting a job or community service, relationships, and that's where you guys come in. You guys can help me pick out which topics because I want to talk about stuff you all want to talk about. Also, within the specific topics, if you guys find any articles or songs or ideas, anything that you think would be cool relating to that topic or that you think has a good message to bring to all the teens, I would love to be able to incorporate that stuff into each segment. So please feel free to send me anything that you think will be worthwhile for all of us to hear. To make things even easier, I'm planning to have an anonymous blog so you guys can all post your ideas and comments or any suggestions, questions, anything you can think of. You can post it there so that I can receive all your comments and suggestions and that I can answer them if they're questions and also try to incorporate whatever you bring into our next segment. Also, if you have any more personal questions that you would not like to share even though it's an anonymous blog, I will keep my email up and you could always email me so that way no one else sees what your question or comment is. I know we've all heard this a million times before, but there isn't such thing as a stupid question. Any question or comment I won't make fun of, I won't laugh, no one else will. We can only learn from our mistakes and help so other people don't make the same mistakes as us. We're not here to judge people, we're just here to learn from other people's experiences and maybe even our own, so that we can become better people and live better lives. One thing I would like to start each broadcast with would be a little message or quote for us to reflect on and to think about throughout our daily lives. Today's quote is titled Creative Thinking, from a book called The Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. The best way to have a good idea is to have lots of ideas, by Linus Pauling. We are much more creative than we give ourselves credit for. The problem is that we often suppress our ideas too quickly. No, that won't work. Can't afford that. Wouldn't enjoy that. If we can have the courage not to censor our ideas, we might be surprised and delighted with ourselves. I will free my mind today and see how many interesting ideas I can come up with. Even if it turns out that none of them are of practical use, I will still benefit from the creativity that I set free. This quote can relate to us all right now as we're trying to think of ideas for this new Kardec Radio for Teens. I know for me, and hopefully for all of you, we can be inspired to come up with ideas, even if they might not work, at least we can give them a try. Nothing is indefinite, no. Everything can be tried. If we give things a try, we'd be surprised how often the things we try go right. Sometimes they don't go right, and then you learn from your mistakes and you figure out how can you make it better. But sometimes maybe you think something won't work, and then when you try it, it works a lot better than you expected and turns out to be great. That's why we should always give everything a try, even if we might think it might be too expensive. Maybe you'll find a cheaper way. If it might be too much work, maybe you'll find some time in your day. Everything is possible if we just put into the effort into it and be positive about it. If we're negative, then it's going to turn out to be negative and bad, and that won't be too good. But if we keep a positive mentality, we're sure to make something wonderful, even if we never even use it ever again. But at least we try. That's the important thing. And everything in life happens for a reason. So maybe you fail miserably on it, but at least you tried, and from that miserable experience, you learned something. You learned, oh, you know what, maybe I don't like to do that, or maybe I don't want to major in that in college. Maybe I don't want to do that as my job. Trying things is a way for us to experience things and help us learn more for our lives and for our future so that we can better evolve and become better people. Since this is the first show, the topics I'm going to talk about might be a little bit random and all over the place, but I'm sure that you can all learn a good meaning from each of the things said, or at least from one thing. I hope you're able to capture something that you can use in your regular day life, at school, at work, wherever it may be. I would like to share with you guys something that I learned over this past weekend. I watched a documentary, which is actually on Netflix, that you guys should all watch. It's about these people in Guatemala, how when their money is converted into our money, these people are so poor that they live on $1 a day. Can you imagine that in our society that we live here in the United States? Living on $1 only per day? Think about all the money that we spent on average for one day. Think about even the stuff that you may not think you're paying for that day, but you actually are. How about your plumbing? Because we all go to the bathroom indoors, right? And our electricity that we are recording and blogging and talking through right now. And our homes, our shelters, even the food, the meals that we have. How much do you think that costs to have a meal? And we have at least 3 a day. And that's without having any fun involved. It's without going to the movie theaters. That's just basic living. We have all these things in our house. Heat, plumbing, electricity, stoves, fridge. To some people, these things, they don't have any of them. Imagine living on just $1. These people, they live like that, and they're actually below the poverty line. These people, they're not even able to find steady jobs in which to make money. So some days they get paid and they can feed their family, and some days they can't. And some of the children, they start working at very young ages. And it's stuff that here we just take for granted. You know, we go to school, then we go to college, then we get a job. These people, they don't have any of that. They just have to be farmers, and sometimes they don't even get paid for it. This documentary isn't only to just feel bad for the people and to give up everything you have. That's not what it's about. But from this documentary, we should learn how to be grateful for all the things we have in our lives. For our school. I know as teenagers, sometimes you don't want to go to school. Sometimes it's the last thing you want to do. But think about how lucky we are to be able to go to school every day, to get lunch from school every day, to be able to have a bus to take us to the school. We don't even walk to the school. Think about all these marvelous things that we have in our lives that we take for granted, that some people wish they had and they can't. From this we can learn that God is out there helping us, and we should be thankful, so thankful to Him for all that He lets us have. But the other thing is that we can't just leave it up to God and say, oh yeah, He's gonna put food on my plate. We have to work for it. We have to give it our best. And if we're nice and kind, and if we love God and follow all He says, then we'll be able to accomplish all that we want. And even though times may be tough, we'll be able to get through it as long as we follow God. The next time that you guys pick up your phone to text someone, or you watch TV, or even when you wake up dreading to go to school, just remember that some people, they wish they had that stuff, and they don't. Some people, they don't even wish they had that stuff. They just wish they had food. They just wish they could take a shower. We are so lucky, and we have to realize that. Along with this message of gratitude, I'd like to share another message from this book, the Daily Book of Positive Quotes. And it's titled, Thanks. No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. James Allen. We take for granted that others know how grateful we are for their kindness and thoughtfulness towards us. We don't really need to send a card or make a phone call, do we? But think how touched we are when someone sends us a special thank you. Thanking others is not merely a social formality. It is an act of kindness and thoughtfulness in its own right. If someone is kind to me, I can certainly take the time to write a thank you note or to call them. This is a very important message because not only do we need to thank God, but also the people around us, because most likely we have parents or aunts or adopted parents or anyone who they provide for us. They put food on the table for us. They give us shelter. They do everything for us. And we not only need to thank God, but also to thank them, because they're the ones that help us live this wonderful life that we live. There's always something to be thankful for. No matter what it is, no matter how hard times may be, there's always something that you can be thankful that you have. This quote is very important. No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. It may be easy to say thank you to a friend, or send a note to someone you haven't seen in a while, or giving a hug to a family member, but how do we thank God? Well, the way we thank God is by doing as He asked. We can thank God by spreading us the love that He gives us, by spreading it all around to all the people around us. Even if there's a person that you really don't like, just be nice to them, lend a helping hand, and that's spreading the love that God wants us to share around the world. With all that being said, I have a challenge for you all. I want everyone to find a little notebook that every day, for 50 days, you write one thing each day that you're thankful for. I have done this challenge myself, and what I did personally, at the end of the day, after the long, tired day, I would sit there and think back to what happened throughout the day, and just write down one thing I was thankful for that happened that day. It can be something simple, it can be something grand, it could be whatever you want it to be. But just consecutively, for 50 days, see if you can write down something you're thankful for. I know it may be hard, and I know everyone's really busy, and sometimes you may forget, and that's okay, but just try to just remember always what you're thankful for. And then, when you realize what you're thankful for, thank the people that are involved with that. Whether it's your parents, God, your friends, your teachers, whoever it may be, go and thank them for what they have done, and realize how it has impacted your life for the better. Since we do not have a real topic for this first session, I'm just going to read another message from the book, and then we can discuss more about what the message means and how we can put that into our real lives. I promise I'm not going to read messages the whole time for the next times, but for this first one, it's a good way to get a little sampling of a whole bunch of different topics. This message relates back to what we were just talking about being kind to others. It is titled, Kindness. 3 things in human life are important. The first is to be kind. The second is to be kind. And the third is to be kind. Henry James. Doctors pledge to first do no harm. We can go one step further. First, we will be kind. Let us approach every situation looking for ways to be kind to others. Even if our kindness isn't returned, It will be better for setting examples and living up to our principles. Today, I will do at least one thing for someone else. This quote relates back to what we were just saying about being kind to others, even if we don't like that person that much. Being kind to other people can't do any harm to us. And maybe if you don't like the person, maybe it'll help them like you better. Maybe it'll strengthen your relationship with that person to just be kind to them. In the quote, it says that the first, second, and third thing to do that are important is to be kind, which is emphasizing how that can change your life just by being kind to people. Being kind to people, as I've seen, has a rippling effect. If you're kind to one person, that person will be kind to the next, and to the next, and to the next, and so forth, and it'll go on and spread kindness everywhere. So if we can all do one kind thing a day, the rippling effect would be huge. Imagine the whole world doing kind things all at once. This is a world that we can only imagine as of right now, but if we want to see it become a reality, we have to make the change. We have to start for ourselves. There's a song by Michael Jackson called Man in the Mirror, which I recommend you should all go listen to it because it's a great song no matter how old it is. In this song, he talks about how if he wants to make a change in the world, if anyone wants to make a change in the world, you have to start with yourself. If you want the whole world to be filled with kindness, but you're not kind to others, then it's not going to happen. You have to start with yourself. You have to teach yourself to be kind, and then others will follow. It's not easy to be kind to everyone and to change the whole world for the better. But if we start with ourselves, if we work on ourselves, we can accomplish that. We can be one step closer to making the world change for the better. It is very difficult to make someone change, especially if they don't want the change. It's very hard to enforce change onto someone. But with ourselves, we can make that change. If we want to see a change, we can change ourselves for that better. It may be hard, but as we talked about it before, if you put in effort and you try and you're positive about it, you'll be surprised what could come out of it. Again, that song was Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. I suggest you all listen to it because it's a great song, and I'm sure you'll be inspired by it just like I was. Another thing I'd like to share with you guys is learning how to deal with stress. I took this workshop a few weeks ago, and it told about how to deal with stress, and it was all for teens. It was a class full of teens. In the workshop, they taught us so many ways on how to deal with stress, and also a lot of places that you can go to. I never knew this, even in my community, that there are places where teens can go, that if they're feeling stressed, they can go and just hang out with other teens and just relax, calm down before they go back to their home or to school. In my community, it's called the Arbor House, and which is a place, it's run by social workers, and they can help you, and you can just relax. And I think that's pretty interesting for some teens who don't know it, because I know I didn't know it. So maybe if you're feeling stressed, look for places in your community that are safe environments that you can go to help you deal with your stress. There are also ways to deal with your stress that are in your own home. For me, I know that I listen to one of my favorite songs, Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. For me, that song brings such a positive energy that you really want to shake it off and that it all goes away. So maybe you guys have that one positive, good song that you just want to listen to, and maybe that's what helped you. Also, I know that it helps for me. I don't know if it helps for anyone else, but during tests when I'm really nervous, I chew gum. I don't know why, but chewing gum, concentrating on doing something else, that can really help relieve your stress. So even maybe chewing gum isn't your thing, but maybe if you have a stress ball that you could just be like playing with, because doing something else with your hand helps you to calm down instead of just thinking strictly on what that test is about. For me, it's chewing bubble gum. Maybe for you guys, it's taking deep breaths. Maybe it's holding a stress ball. Whatever it may be, you should try and find that stress reliever for you. Also, as a junior in high school, I know how stressful it may be starting to look at colleges, doing your SAT or ACT. But it may be stressful, but there's a point where you need to just relax, because everything will work out, even though it may seem like it's the end of the world right now. Because trust me, it's not. I've been through that just like everyone else. But you get through it and you realize that it's not the end of the world. Also with that thought is that for kids like me who are busy all the time, whether it's with sports or schoolwork or work, whatever it may be, it's okay to relax someday. To find maybe your Saturday and just relax. And just on Sunday you can do all the homework that you need to do. You can catch up again. But some days it's good to just have a mental breather, to just calm down, slow down, to just let your mind rest. Life won't be easy, but it's okay to have time to just relax, to breathe. Even though there might be a lot of stuff that needs to be done, it's okay to take a step back for a second and breathe. Another thing which may be stressing you out is if a task is really difficult, you feel like you can't do it because it's too much work, you don't even like that class, why are you doing it? But if you keep a positive mentality, as we mentioned before, that's the best way to be able to get through something. If you're negative, just the whole thing is going to be rough. You're not going to want to do that essay that you have to write. But if you just try and be a little bit positive, if you just eat your favorite food right before, if you do something that helps you, it could really help you to get through it and to actually like what you accomplish at the end. Another quote that goes along with this from the same book, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations, is titled Attitude and Success. It is in our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task which, more than anything else, will affect a successful outcome. William James. We've all made the excuses. We can't do it, it's too hard, it's boring, it takes too much time, it's not worth the trouble. When we begin difficult tasks with attitudes like these, we are destined to fail. Even if we can't change a particular task, we can change the way we look at it. Yes, it's hard, but we can do it. We just need to make the commitment. I want to succeed whenever possible. I will make sure my attitude doesn't undermine my chances. This message just supports what we've been saying about how if you go in with a positive attitude, it will help you in the end. Maybe if you thought it was going to be so hard, if you go in with a positive attitude thinking, no, it's okay, it'll be fine, I'll get this done, then maybe at the end you'll realize it wasn't so hard after all. But if you go in with that negative attitude, it'll just bring you down and it won't be fun at all. During any of these messages or topics that we're talking about, if anything catches your eye, if anything you think it's not right, anything you want to say at all, please feel free to comment it or email it to me. I'm welcome to all ideas. Don't worry, I accept constructive criticism. Everything is accepted. I want you all to be a part of the conversation too. I don't want to just be saying my opinion as if that's the only right opinion, because there are many opinions out there and I know that I don't know everything. I'd love to hear your opinions and to get you guys into the conversation instead of just me talking. Tell me what you guys would like to hear about, what questions you have, anything you'd like to know. One thing we hear many teenagers say, even myself, I'm guilty to it too, is we all say we're bored. Everyone says that at some point, that we're bored. But in this book, I found another message that is titled Boredom, which may help many of us to realize that there are ways to not be bored in life. Boredom is the feeling that everything is a waste of time. Serenity that nothing is. Thomas Sazes. It's all a matter of attitude. A day with nothing to do stretches in front of us. We get antsy, aimlessly wandering around the house, watching television, or flipping through magazines. We heave a few big sighs, wonder what our friends are doing, and begin to beat ourselves up for being so lazy. Can't wait for the day to end. Or we can see the day as a gift. No responsibilities, no plans. We can savor the morning cup of coffee, take a long walk with no destination in mind, listen to our favorite piece of music, write an entry in our journal, all of the things we say we're too busy to do most of the time. I don't need to be busy to avoid being bored. I will let myself enjoy just being. This relates back to how we were talking about how we should have a day to just relax and not to be bored, but to just mental breather, to just let yourself do nothing, because it's okay. Although it is okay to just relax for one day, we can't just do nothing every day and say we're just relaxing our minds. We have to be productive. We have to be doing something active. My mom always told me, the more you do, the more you do. At first, it sounds random and it sounds like it doesn't make sense. But the quote really means that the more you participate in, the more active you're in, the more you feel you're capable of doing. If you don't do anything and you just go to school and you come home and you just watch TV, you'll feel like lazy and you'll feel like you don't have the energy to do anything. But once you start doing a lot of activities, whether it's like journalism or whatever sport you like or anything, because I know at schools these days they offer any club for a wide variety of ranges that you could want. If you become active in stuff like this that you like to do, the more things that you start actively doing, you'll realize how much energy you have and you'll be able to do more things. So the more you do, the more you're able to do. Next week, I would like to be talking about exactly how you can do more stuff, how you can become active and helping in your community. This week was a little different because I just wanted to introduce everyone to a couple main ideas just to see what people are interested in, what people aren't interested in. But next week we can talk about community and becoming active in your community, how to help your community. You'd be surprised how many things there are available to be able to be part of your community and to help out and to make the change within yourself and then help it in your community. If you guys have anything you would like to comment or suggest for the next one that's about community, you're more than welcome to. I'd love to incorporate some stuff from you guys into it. Any questions that I can answer throughout. Also, if you have any comments, questions, anything about tonight's, you can leave that in the blog too or email it to me and I will answer all of you. As we talked about in the beginning, it's important to be thankful for what we have and to be grateful and to thank the people that help you. So I'd like to thank everyone that gave me the opportunity to start this. And thank you for everyone that's listening, and I hope we can make it the best it can be together. I hope that everyone was able to take at least one thing new from this and to be able to put it into their lives. Also, don't forget about the gratitude challenge, to write something down that you're thankful for every day for 50 days. See if you can do it. It's hard, but I have faith in everyone. You can do it. It takes 2 seconds to just write down something you're thankful for. Try not to repeat them all the time. Try and think of something different. Try and really reflect back on your day and what happened. Thank you everyone for such an amazing opportunity. We'll see you next week talking about community service and being active part in your community. This has been Kardec Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening.